And welcome to NATChat. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Raphael Bender, who is a personal trainer. Welcome to the program, Raphael.
Thank you very much.
And can you tell us what attracted you to become a personal trainer?
Well, I'm not sure if you know, before I was a personal trainer I used to teach Kung Fu, martial arts, for many years, and when you're a Kung Fu teacher there's not a lot of money in that, so I used to bounce, like work in security in nightclubs. And one day, just out of my own interest, I went along and did a physical fitness course at TAFE, and it just was such a revelation to me, the positivity basically. When you hang around in nightclubs, when you're a security guard, there's a certain type of vibe that you get at about 4 a.m. on a Wednesday night, you know, which is not real positive.
Yeah.
Because people are just kind of, you know,
so
falling into their drinks.
Yeah.
And when I showed up at this course, it was just amazing. People were there, they were cheery, they were excited by life, they were passionate, they wanted to make things better, they were into being happy and healthy, and, you know, it was just really just blew me over.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And what satisfaction does it give you to actually train people yourself?
I guess it's kind of an extension of that for me. It's not really about, you know, watching people achieve their goals, although that's an important part of it. But for me, what really gives me a huge lift when I work with people is when people can start to widen their horizons of things that they believe perhaps they couldn't do before. You know, like when someone might come to me and say something like, oh, I've always just been a sort of person who's, you know, overweight or uncoordinated or can't run, or, you know, whatever it is. And then working with them and they get to the point where they have this realisation, gee, you know, that doesn't have to be me. I can lose weight, or I can become more coordinated, or I can do the fun run, or, you know, like, and seeing that can be a life-changing experience for people.
And interestingly enough, it might be also because you're the one that believed in them, that made them think that, because usually someone needs someone to believe in them when they don't believe in themselves.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of that, but absolutely, you have to believe in, I mean, if you don't believe that your client can do it, then you've got no business training them.
Yeah. And why do you think it's necessary today to see a personal trainer, and also what was your experience when you saw a personal trainer for the first time?
Well, different people will get different things from being trained. Obviously there's, you know, technique and safety, and if you've got specific goals like sport related, you want to, you know, achieve a certain competition or whatever, then that can be really useful. But definitely for almost everybody, the main thing is motivation.
Yeah.
You know, we all know what we need to do to, you know, get fitter and healthier and lose weight. I mean, we need to exercise more, you know.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. And so if I was to say to all your viewers, you know, go out and exercise more, you already know that. You know, that's not really useful information, but it's doing it that's the trick, you know. So I guess the accountability, you know, knowing that there's someone waiting there for you, like when you wake up at 5:30 in the morning and it's cold and you don't feel like training, you know, knowing that you've already paid the money, you know, and someo's there waiting for you and they got up at 5:30 to meet you. And
you just want to stay in bed when it's warm.
Sure. It's just getting there. Like once you get there, you always do it and enjoy it and feel better afterwards. It's just, you know, I mean, a trainer can add so much more, but really, I think for most people it's the motivation. That's the big thing.
And why do you think some people block that part of themselves? Like you said, like we all know what we need to do. We need to eat well, we need to exercise, we need to be fit. And why do people allow themselves to block that part of them and let themselves get sick and things? Not that they intentionally do it.
Gee, that's a big question. Well, you know, different people have different things, different processes going on for them, but I know one thing that can get in people's way is they might just not have a good strategy for doing it. You know, like they want to motivate themselves, they want to be healthy, they want to, you know, eat well and stuff, and they know what they need to do that, but they just can't make themselves do it. And it might be that they don't have the skills to do that. You know, like there are people that are good at doing certain things, and there are people that are not good at doing certain things. You know,
like if you want to get a special haircut, maybe you'll go to a hairdresser to do that, you won't do it yourself.
Sure.
For whatever reason, there's always someone in that field that can help you in where you need.
Yeah, and different people, you know, I deal a lot with motivation and self-discipline and willpower and all the different names that people give the ability to just get off your butt and do something. And one of the things that I think is a misconception that people have is that motivation is something that you either are born with or not. That you know, I'm just lucky because I'm a motivated person, or I've never been a motivated person, or I don't have a lot of willpower or whatever. It's a skill, you know. And when you break down, because a lot of research has been done on this with, you know, athletes and, you know, different people, when you break down what people do, you know, to motivate themselves, there are specific things that you can do, you know. And then you look at people who have great strategies for procrastinating, and there are specific things you can do for that as well, you know, and they're different things, you know. Like, for instance, one of the things that has come to light is that a really effective way of getting yourself to do something is visualising, right? And a lot of sports people do this, and it's, you know, a lot of people probably know about it, that by visualising yourself doing something, like if you visualise yourself out there doing your training session and having finished your training session and feeling great and how all the benefits that are coming from that, and, you know, then it's a lot easier to go do your training session, right? Whereas if you sit there and you start having a conversation with yourself about whether or not you should do your training session, you're thinking, oh, I really should go and do a training session, but I don't feel like it, and maybe I could do it tomorrow because it's a bit cold today, and, you know, you start having this conversation. If you notice that that's happening, it's very likely that you're not going to go and do the training session, you know, because that's a really good strategy for not doing things you want to do.
That's beautiful. So the trick is to have that visual image in your mind all the time, and that will push you to reach it.
Yeah, and, well, different things will work for different people, but that's something that works. Like, I've got one of my clients is a bodybuilder, a professional bodybuilder. And this guy's been Mr. Victoria 3 times last 3 years running. And this is a guy who does 2 hours a day of cardio. Right? And it's not something he enjoys. You know, he doesn't wake up thinking, yippee, you know, 2 hours of cardio in the pitch black. But he does it every day. You know, and the strategy that he uses, which really, really works for him, is when he wakes up and it's, you know, 5:15 in the morning and it's raining, and he wants to roll back over and hit the snooze button, he thinks about being up on that podium on the bodybuilding competition, and he thinks about how he'll feel if he hasn't done his cardio. You know, how you know, he thinks about how flabby he'll be and how disappointed in himself he'll be and how everyone will be laughing at him, and he gets up and he does it.
Beautiful. We've got to go to a break now. You're watching NATChat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.